can, okay, wait, just wait. You can commence your presentation.
Thank you so much. Sir, are you able to see my PowerPoint presentation, sir?
Okay, I'm not able to unless I make you admin. But if I put you as admin, I will have no chance of stopping the recording. So you can
Okay.
present, you can share the notes later.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, learners. So today we have a very important topic that we are going to learn. And so the topic for today is Plato's contribution to education. And so this is the outline of our today's presentation. We have got our introduction, then we'll look at Plato's contribution to education and the importance of Plato's educational ideas to our Zambian setup in terms of our education system. So before we set the ball rolling, it is important for us now for me to pose a question to you, the learners. On the Is there anyone who has an idea who Plato is? Okay. Indeed, Plato is one of the philosophers of education. So, in our introduction, so Plato lived between 428 to 348 BC, that's before Christ, and he attended one of the best schools in Athens. And we have to know that he was greatly influenced by Socrates, his teacher. So what we note is that Plato was a student to Socrates. So he learned under Socrates, whom we know as also one of the great philosophers who contributed greatly to education. He loved Socrates so much that he emulated his lifestyle. And another thing of important in our introduction is that Plato built a school in Athens, and this school was called the Academy. So this is the first time. It was during the time of Plato that we saw this word. That we see this word coming up, academy, and it was the first of its kind. It was peculiar in the sense that learners left their homes and got admitted into this academy. So it was an institution. So we can call it more like a boarding school of that time where learners left their parents and indeed they got admitted in the academy. He stayed in the academy where he taught and worked as a philosopher. So he was a peculiar teacher. He left his home to go and stay in this academy, an institution that he established. The other thing that we need to note is that uh, Plato wrote a book. So he was not just a philosopher, he was also a writer, he was an author. So he wrote books, some of which are The Republic, that was one of the titles of his book. The other one was The Law. So having looked at the introduction to who Plato is and some of the things that he introduced, such as the academy, now we'll dive into looking at the Plato's contribution to education, and we'll look at basically 2 points that I want us to look at. So uh, 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 from the historical background, we learned that Plato built a school called the Academy, the first of its kind. Initially, teachers used to move from one place to the other. So, but this was the first institution that was stationed at one particular place. So, this school included dormitories where students could stay, and it had a secondary as well as the higher school. It was the first established of an organized school in the world, like Elia mentioned in our introduction. So the Western world emulated him, and today in Zambia, indeed, we are practicing the same thing. We have primary, we have basic, and we also have secondary schools. Maybe at this moment, looking at this rich background in terms of this contribution, I would like to pause for a question. And the question is, uh, uh, what are some of the examples of institution today that can be linked to the academy of those time during Plato's time? Indeed, um, today we have boarding schools, we have primary schools, we have basic schools and secondary school. We also have tertiary institutions such as colleges and universities where students leave their homes and get admitted in this institution, and there are hostels there where learners can sleep comfortably and use them as studying rooms as well. And this is a very important contribution. The other contribution that we look at is Plato believed in a state control of the education system. So he believed that the institution, the education system, must be controlled by the state, by the governments, different governments. So to Plato, this will bring proper organization and supervision of teaching and learning. So where we have the government controlling this institution. So he suggested the appointment of directors of education. Who is this director? This director, was to be assisted by a committee of experts to be able to advise the director. And so the director is to decide what should be taught. These were the main three. I'm now going to list the main three functions of these directors. So number one is to decide what to be taught. So they were looking at the curriculum, okay, how this information should be taught to learners, and also to supervise the work of the teacher. So these were the functions of directors. And, uh, and today in Zambia, each school has a head teacher, it has got school managers, and these are important. These are there to make sure that they are able to supervise the teachers. They are able to know what is being taught, deciding what is to be taught, and also how this information to be taught. So, right from in terms of this director, we can even put it at the national level, where we are talking about the organization and the supervision. We have got the Minister of Education, we have got the permanent secretary, and the permanent secretary has got various directors. And this also is again duplicated at the school level, district level, also where we have the debts. And also underneath him, we have got different head teachers and the school managers. And these ones are able to supervise, are there to make sure that what is taught is according to the curriculum and it is taught in a proper manner. And also they make sure that they supervise the teachers. This method is adopted in this country today. And this is also another great contribution that Plato made to the educational system. Okay, and so to you, the learners, today, we proceed. Let's proceed and look at the conclusion. Yes. So the importance of Plato's education ideas. Now, I want us to, as we conclude, to apply it in our Zambian setup. We have seen that in all the areas of education, Plato has influenced Zambia. Plato's academy has helped in the establishment and organization of primary, secondary, high school as well. Indeed, Plato has influenced this country, and today Zambia has a lot of boarding schools, like earlier mentioned, and most students in tertiary institutions stay in hostels. Initially, we used to have David Kaunda, DK. We also used to have Hillcrest, but the whole country, in each and every province, they are indeed boarding school, and this all can be attributed to Plato. So Plato indeed has greatly contributed to the educational system, and us as Zambia as a country, we are also a beneficiary of what Plato did. And so as we now goes to the conclusion, as we finalize, it is important for us just to recap in terms of our looking at our exercise. So at this moment, I would love to, before we go into exercises, I would love to pause for a question. If there is any question from you, our learners. Okay, thank you so much. So we will now go direct into the exercise. So the first question, we have three questions that I want us to attempt. The first question is the school which Plato built in Athens was called, indeed, the academy. So that was the first school that which Plato built in Athens. It was called the academy. The second question: what is the importance of the state controlling educational system according to Plato? Anyone? Okay. So it is important in terms of who there is proper, if there is the state is controlling the educational system, indeed there is proper organization, and there is also supervision of the teaching and learning. We don't want people, teachers, to be coming up with their own curriculum. Okay, everything that is being taught should indeed be regulated. Okay, then the third one is state the function of the director under the Ministry of Education under education according to Plato. Okay, so indeed they were deciding what should be taught, how it should be taught, and they were also making sure that they supervise the teachers. Okay, so this marks the end of our today's lesson. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a brilliant, what a brilliant presentation. Yeah, it was brilliant. I'm impressed. Um, your voice projection was just okay because you're presenting to me. You're not presenting to a big group. Okay, you may have to improve if you are speaking to 100 people. I'm looking at you as a person who is soft spoken. Okay, so forget about being soft spoken when you're presenting to big groups. You followed the lesson plan very well. You engaged the learner very well. All those are sign of a good presenter. Okay, your lay down of the lesson was systematic. I know doing this program, it is just for confirmation because you are already a teacher. Yes, you're already a teacher. So doing the program is just there for confirmation. So it was nice being with you throughout the program. I wish you God's blessing that you open your own institution so that you become more empowered with the program that you have done, not just to teach at someone else's institution, but look forward to having your own institution. Otherwise, any last remarks before I close?
Um, Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the comments, sir. I'm really humbled, sir. I really appreciate and also appreciate uh, the lessons that you have been teaching us and the material that you have been sending to us. They are really very important to us. I know we have been teaching here and there, but really for us, it was just a matter of delivering the information minus
Yes.
knowing how when to engage students, how to engage them. That we really didn't know. What we were just most likely just replicating or pasting what the way our teachers, the way they taught us medicine, minus following the laid down the way we are supposed to teach. So this program for me has really been very, very, very helpful, and I believe that I'm not going to be the same even the way I'll be delivering the information. Now I have the better understanding. I can now engage the learners. And also we learned also about the lecture method, which you also commented about, where we are talking to the large group, especially that now there is over enrolling of students and so on and so forth. So that was very cardinal for us and very important. You taught us how to teach in a group. That is very important, sir. And you brought out the issue of where these all these philosophies are coming from, the philosophy of education. That is very, very cardinal for us, us who aspire to be teaching. So I just want to say thank you so much, sir, for your sacrifice and for all the lessons. We really appreciate, and we won't disappoint you.
Thank you.